What exactly does it mean to decode? Decoding is the ability to translate written symbols, such as letters, into spoken words. It begins when a reader uses their eyes to see the letters. Their brains then process and make sense of these symbols using the information that they know about them to be able to decode and read the text. Because the foundation of decoding is sound-symbol relationships, or phonics, we're going to take a deeper dive into 9 terms that all reading teachers need to know as it relates to decoding. Number 1. Simply put, phonics is the relationship between letters and the sounds that they represent. When it comes to teaching reading, a strong foundation in phonics is especially critical for both the teacher and the students. In fact, phonics is what helps us unlock words. Understanding the relationship between each letter and sound, such as in this example, b, a, t, allows us to read new words. The same is true as reading becomes more advanced. While it no longer becomes efficient to read words sound by sound, having a strong foundation in phonics, coupled with additional strategies, helps us unlock new words when other strategies are unsuccessful for the reader. Before moving on, I want to take a minute and discuss a common misunderstanding with phonics and another similar term, phonemic awareness. The root word phone means sound, so the definition of phonics makes perfect sense. We're attaching letters with their respective sound. Keep in mind, though, that there are other reading terms that involve sound. A common misunderstanding is the difference between phonics and phonemic awareness. While phonics involves letters and their sound, phonemic awareness is the understanding of such, and it involves manipulating those sounds. Phonics and phonemic awareness are not the same. A good clue to help remember the difference is that phonemic awareness can be taught with the lights off. This is a popular reference that reminds us that phonemic awareness does not involve letters, so we don't use our eyes like we do for phonics. We rely on our ears. A phoneme is the smallest unit of sound that, when combined, make up a single word. Think about the root word within phoneme. The root word phone gives us a good indication that a phoneme is related to sound, just like we saw with phonics. It includes both the sounds that are produced when speaking and the sounds that we hear when listening. There are approximately 44 English phonemes that are used to make up the words we speak with, write with, and read. Explicit instruction with these 44 sounds helps students not only decode words, but accurately spell words as well. Number 3. A grapheme is related to a phoneme in that a grapheme is the symbol that represents the phoneme. The root word graph means write, so using the root of the word can serve as a reminder that the grapheme is the written sound. Because English has 44 sounds, but only 26 letters, various letter combinations are also used to represent these sounds. A grapheme can consist of 1, 2, 3, or even 4 letters. So let's do some practice identifying the graphemes in each word. Take a look at this word, frog. How many graphemes are used here to represent the phonemes in the word frog? There are 4 graphemes in the word frog. Boat. How many graphemes are in the word boat? There are 3 graphemes in the word boat. Notice how the long O sound is represented by the grapheme OA. So although there are 4 letters in the word boat, there are only 3 graphemes to represent the sounds. Stack. How many graphemes are in the word stack? There are 4 graphemes in the word stack. Just like we saw with the example boat, there are 2 letters representing one sound. So, although there are 5 letters, there are 4 graphemes to represent the sounds in the word stack. Take a look at the word fix. How many graphemes are in the word fix? The word fix has 3 graphemes. Now this one was a little tricky because we hear 4 phonemes because of the letter X. The letter X produces 2 separate sounds or 2 phonemes. However, there's only one grapheme that represents those 2 sounds. So although there are 3 letters, 4 phonemes, there are still only 3 graphemes to represent the phonemes. Let's take a look at another one, the word bright. How many graphemes are in bright? There are 4 graphemes in the word bright. Although this is a 6-letter word, trigraph IGH is used to represent the long I sound that we hear in the word bright. Shop. How many graphemes are in shop? There are 3 graphemes in the word shop. Again, we see 2 letters, SH, being used to represent one sound. So why is it necessary for students to understand phonemes and graphemes? As you can see, with the exception of the 2 sounds represented by the letter X, generally the number of phonemes and graphemes match. When learning to decode, students need to learn that the grapheme represents each sound rather than individual letters. For students who struggle with decoding, oftentimes they don't readily recognize the grapheme patterns that are represented in the word. For example, they may attempt to read the word letter by letter instead of reading the word grapheme by grapheme. As you can see, the difference between the two can be problematic for the reader. And the 4th decoding term that every reading teacher needs to know, digraph. A digraph is 2 adjacent letters in the same syllable that represent one sound. As you can see, digraphs can consist of vowels or consonants, but the criteria remains the same. They have to make a single speech sound. The prefix di means 2, so if there are 3 letters, it would be a trigraph like TCH, or if there were 4 letters, it would be a quadrigraph like EIGH. It's important to note that a grapheme has to be in the same syllable to be considered a digraph. Notice in these example words, the grapheme is split between 2 syllables, and thus it's not acting as a digraph. Because blends typically consist of 2 letters as well, they're often misunderstood to be digraphs. A blend is 2 or more adjacent letters whose sounds flow smoothly together. In order to determine the difference between the two, let's think about road signs. The digraph would be the merging road sign. When the lanes merge, they're combined into one lane. Whereas the added lane sign simply tells drivers that an additional lane is being added, but each lane remains separate. The same is true for blends. They have 2 letters, but both letters still maintain their original sound, unlike digraphs who come together to make a single sound. The next decoding term that all reading teachers need to know is diphthong. These are also commonly confused with digraphs because they too have 2 letters. A diphthong consists of 2 adjacent vowels in the same syllable whose sounds glide together to create a new sound. While we normally think about W and Y as consonants, when they are paired with the letter O to form a diphthong, they're acting as vowels. Therefore, when decoding, diphthongs are categorized as vowel teams. Number 6. A syllable is a word or a word part that contains one vowel sound. Because all vowel sounds require us to open our mouths, if you place your hand under your chin, you can count how many times your mouth opens when saying a word to determine the number of syllables in the word. If you look at this example, you'll notice that the word magnet has two vowel sounds, therefore it has two syllables. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out our video on the 6 syllable types that go into further details about syllables and how they impact reading. Not only do syllable types help readers identify the vowel sound, but they also serve as an efficient way for readers to decode unknown multisyllabic words. For a quick review, here are the 6 syllable types in a brief summary. A closed syllable ends in one vowel and at least one consonant. An open syllable ends in one vowel. A vowel consonant E syllable ends in one vowel, followed by a consonant and then the letter E. A vowel team consists of 2 adjacent vowels. An R-controlled syllable has an R immediately after the vowel. And then a final stable syllable ends in a consonant plus an LE. Number 7. Blending. Blending is the act of melding or combining sounds, syllables, or words together to produce a meaningful unit. This is typically what parents and teachers are referring to when they tell a student to sound it out. Blending involves fusing those sounds together that are side by side. When students are first learning to blend, it's easier to teach them to do this with continuant sounds, meaning the sound can be held on for an extended time as opposed to stopped or clipped sounds that require us to stop the sound as soon as it's produced. For example, make the sound for the letter M. You can carry the M sound as long as you're able to hold your breath. Now, make the sound for the letter P. To correctly make this sound, we have to stop our mouth as soon as the sound is produced to avoid adding an extra vowel sound like When blending, students would produce each sound in an attempt to fuse those sounds together to read a word, similar to this. Ah. If they're not able to determine the word, it may be necessary for them to repeat this process and moving to the next grapheme quicker, like this. Students who are beginning the decoding process may need to do this a few times until they can pull it together fast enough to recognize the word. The same is true for advanced decoders when they're now blending syllables together to make a multisyllabic word. The process is similar, but instead of reading grapheme by grapheme, they're now reading syllable by syllable like this. Penmanship. Number 8. Structural analysis is the process of recognizing unknown words by using knowledge of word structure. It helps the reader decode long, unfamiliar words. Word structure can include prefixes, suffixes, roots, and compound words. A prefix is a letter or group of letters that attaches to the beginning of a word to change the meaning of the word. A suffix is similar, except it attaches at the end of a word to change its form or usage. A root, however, is what a prefix or suffix attaches to. There are some roots that can stand alone as words, and then there are others that cannot, as in this example using struct. While these word features certainly help us determine meaning, they can also help us efficiently decode words. It is important to note that students should be comfortable and automatic with recognizing syllables prior to expecting great success with decoding using word structures. The schwa sound represented with this symbol is used to identify an unaccented vowel sound that closely resembles the short U or short I sound. There are a few important things to note about the schwa sound, especially as it relates to decoding. The first one is that any vowel can make the schwa sound. It's also unaccented, meaning we don't stress this sound when pronouncing it. The second idea is that they commonly occur in unaccented closed syllables. As students begin to learn to decode multisyllabic words by using syllable division, they're going to notice that some words are pronounced different in running speech than they might expect. Take a look at this word, ribbon. Students learn that a vowel in a closed syllable is short, and they would expect the two syllables in this word to read as rib and then bon. Because we sometimes pronounce unaccented syllables with the schwa sound, the second syllable is pronounced as bun. When students are learning to decode, it's important to recognize these discoveries and then use an exaggerated pronunciation when the schwa sounds appear. Teachers can then help students match the printed word to a word that is more recognizable for them in running speech. You may want to also note that the schwa sound in an unaccented closed syllable commonly occurs before the letters M, N, and L. The third idea to make note of regarding the schwa sound is its relation to clipped consonants. Consonants such as P and B and K require us to clip their sounds to avoid adding a schwa sound to the end. Incorrectly adding a schwa sound after creates a sound like B and P and K.
The focus of this video was on decoding. However, being a good decoder doesn't automatically make one a good reader. There needs to be a good balance between one's decoding ability and their comprehension ability. If a student is not an efficient decoder, they're going to have difficulty deriving meaning from what they've just read. And on the other hand, if the student can accurately decode but lacks the ability to comprehend, there is little left to appreciate for their decoding efforts.
Our hope is that you find value in the videos that we share. If you enjoyed the video, give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos. Feel free to also check out our website at ProLearningServices.com.